Hello there, it's your Hanish of Whiskey Lore. Time for another whiskey tasting. But before I jump into that, in the middle of the last video I did on White Horse, I had actually teased a ending where I was going to tell you guys what my friend had come up with as something that was like Shackleton, what Shackleton reminded them of, that actually is a much higher priced whiskey. And I've tasted them side by side, and amazingly, he's not that far off. I mean, these are very close, and we're talking Shackleton at $30 a bottle or $35 a bottle versus this other one, which usually goes for around $219 a bottle. I'm talking about Johnnie Walker Blue versus Shackleton. They have a lot of characteristics that are very similar to each other, and that is actually pretty shocking. I would say that Johnnie Walker Blue has got more layers to it, and it should, because it's got older whiskeys in it, but it really does kind of prop up the value of what Shackleton is. But that's not what I'm talking about in this video. I just want to clear that up, especially for you guys who are faithful and watch more than just a video or two. So everybody else will be lost as to what my answer was on that. But today I am doing a tasting of Clonakilty, which is an Irish whiskey. This is double oak, single batch. He has the batch number here 19 and number of bottles 6,700 out of that particular batch. The gentle cut. Of course, we've done a video here recently, interview with Michael Scully, who is the co-founder of or founder of Clonakilty, and he talked a lot. Actually, once I was in Ireland, I got the opportunity to meet with him, and he drove me out to the farm where they have taken this heritage grain of barley and they are bringing it back after a century of it not being grown in Ireland. And so we talked a bit about that. Talked about his town, which I think is a fantastic little town it's right at the southern end of the Wild Atlantic Way. So great starting point there. The distillery is built into a bank building. It was meant to be a bank, ends up being a distillery. And then we talked about the town history as well. And got a chance to do a tasting of this whiskey. So here is my short version of that. Now, this whiskey is actually aged in ex-bourbon barrels, and then it's sourced. Then what they do is they age it in virgin American oak barrels and also in ex-red wine European oak casks, and then blend it all together into a batch. And then this gentle cut idea is that they basically take the time to add little bits of water in at a time into that batch before it's ready for bottling. A little bit more, 2% at a time, 2% at a time. And the idea is to allow the water to work its way into the spirit rather than just tossing water in there and going from there. And it's his feeling that that actually improves the marriage of the water with the spirit as it's being proofed down. They also focus on not chill filtering. They don't chill filter, but when every distillery filters in some way or another. And what they're doing is they're filtering the char out of the liquid. If they didn't do that that filtering, you would end up with little chunks in your whiskey that would be coming from the barrel. Now, he suggests that because they're using a wider gauge, they are allowing more oils to come through in the whiskey, which should give it a better mouthfeel. So let's go ahead and find out if that is the case and if it is retaining those oils, which by looking at the legs on the whiskey, I would say that yes, there are some nice oils in this. And this is no surprise to me. As you can see, I've enjoyed some of this bottle already. It has a note in it that I really do appreciate. 43.6% ABV. And on the nose, the main thing I get is a pineapple, like a tropical fruit pineapple. There's a little bit of apple, pear. That's apple and pear together, air. My brain thinks of two words at the same time, and just makes it one. A little vanilla note in there, and a little bit of the char in there, likely coming from the virgin American oak. And interesting, on the red wine cask, they actually shave those casks down before putting the liquid in. So it's less about the red wine influence, and it's more about the European oak influence coming through. Cheers. So it does have a really nice mouthfeel. Nice little sweetness coming through. A little ginger note. Lemony. Pineapple really doesn't come through so much on the taste as it does on the nose. But nice consistency to this. Ends with some nice spices in it. Nice, clean, enjoy. Oh, and there's the pineapple and a little bit of that lemon coming through on the finish again for me. It's like lemon pie is what I taste there. A little lemon meringue maybe coming through on that. The grain coming through as well with that lemony note. Maybe a hint of that char remains, but there's no bitterness to this, really. It is a really nice whiskey from start to finish, and this does not use the barley from their farm. That is for something down the road. Right now, the distillery is still fairly young. They just had their first whiskey reach 3 years of age. They're not ready to release it yet. It's probably going to be another year or two, likely two, before that whiskey comes out. But it'd be very interesting to see how their newer whiskeys, the whiskeys they're producing, taste versus what they're doing right now, which is basically being bonders and taking other people's spirits and aging them themselves and coming up with what they can do in terms of their own aging process. So, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, and if you have comments about this, what Irish whiskeys have you tried? Have you found Clonakilty somewhere in your favorite store? And like I say, this is an interesting one. Is available in the U.S., available overseas. They have a lot of other whiskeys available at the distillery. So if you're in Ireland, then it might be worth a stop by, do a tasting, and learn. They're really great people there. I spent 5 hours at that distillery between my time going out to the farm, going to the warehouse, and then spending time at the distillery just chatting with people. So anyway, that is it. And until next time, cheers and Slán Jabá.